welcome to another video of mine here on my channel. Welcome. This is Mae Renfroe here with you, and as always, I'm excited about being able to do these videos and just give some hope, encouragement from my home kind of to yours, and or just insights from scripture and stuff. And so yeah, we'll get into this one, and you might hear a little bit of noise from my children in the background, but otherwise I'm out here in my kind of quiet spot in the woods where I enjoy doing these videos. And as you can see, it's kind of greening up more and more here in my neck of the wood in Texas. Okay, we'll get started. Alright, in this video I'm actually kind of reflecting back on 4 years ago this time. Right now it's April the 18th of 2021, but it was 4 years ago on April the 19th of 2017 when our lives were changed forever, when our second oldest son, Clayton, died in a quad accident. So I'm kind of reflecting on that and just kind of pulling some stuff out from our experience and what we've learned, on what God's done in our lives and is still doing in our lives over the years, to kind of just something to give you if you're going through some hard things. It may not be something maybe for everybody necessarily, but we're all going through something at some point, and especially I'd say probably with this pandemic and stuff now that everyone's experiencing things, it just isn't, it's a little unsettling. But when we have God and we have our hope in God, then we can be settled and we can be grounded and we still have hope and just that plan and that purpose that God has for our lives and over our life. And so I'm going to reflect on that, just some things that I'm through. And I'm sure that if you've been a regular follower on my channel here or on my blog and website, you have definitely heard a lot of my story and of a lot of the things I've shared. And so I'm not going through the whole story. I am going to share some of the resources that I've been sharing over these last 4 years. And so that if you are interested in getting hearing some of those things again, or getting some of those resources to share with a friend, someone that that is going through a loss, and maybe somebody like you're, that's just going through something just now, and you're like, oh man, this would be perfect for them. They may enjoy that, and like that there's someone that has gone through and can, knows how they feel, and that this would just be good for them. However, so that's what I'll be going over in this one. Yes, our loss of our son happened just on a regular wonderful spring day, quite like this one, except that we were up in northern Alberta, so it was definitely colder. The snow was off the ground, though almost completely in our area. At that time it went off early, and so it was a very pleasant spring day for up there. Very, very nice. And he went out in the woods with his quad by himself, and I'm not sure exactly how it happened. Just on a little incline, just by a dugout up there, it rolled, and he died of a broken neck and back. And so just here one moment and just gone the next. And if you're a parent, you'll know just how just tragedy, just everything has just changed. Your world has changed. It's changed for you, for your husband, for your kids, and suddenly just in so many things you're going through your head, like, no, what about this, and how's this going to be, and what are we going to do, and just so many things. You just don't know what it's gonna be like every day that you're going forward. You just don't know what it's gonna be like how you're gonna feel, and what you're feeling, is this normal? Is it normal, or are you I don't know, just is it different for you than it is for everyone else? And and it'll be different for everyone. And so just so many emotions and so many feelings, and I couldn't have made it without God, without having that hope and that that secureness in God, and that peace that He gave me right from the get-go, right from the time it was happening. I felt that peace. It really surrounded me. I just realized that this was something that even though it's totally out of our hands and our control, I just realized that this would not have happened if it wasn't supposed to happen. This would not have happened if this wasn't as part of God's plan. I mean, no matter how that may sound to someone that, truly, no matter how tragic, how senseless to us it may have seemed, and how, like, why in the world did it happen? And I don't think we'll know on this side of the earth. That is not really for us to know, but I still felt that peace that I knew that this wouldn't have happened if it wasn't meant to happen. Really, I feel with God, there's no accidents, and the way it happened too. It didn't appear that he was playing around on the hill. We were not there, but it just simply looked like he just kind of got on a wrong angle. I'm not really sure, and it just looks like it just flipped. It doesn't look like he was raring and tearing, and it was on the hill and all. I know sometimes maybe we can ask for trouble, certainly, but I also feel that still our life is in his hands, and if it's not our time to go, we're not going to go. Because I know of many stories, and I'm sure you do too. I've heard of many stories where it seems like this person should have died, should have been dead, but they're not, and the must not, wasn't their time to go. It just wasn't. God still had a plan and a purpose for whatever reason, and many times it's even for people that doesn't know God yet. Okay, and so many stories that I've heard is that God saved them physically first, and then later on save them spiritually. So that's another thing too, is that when someone that doesn't know God yet, and God knows that there's a hope for him, that he will come to know him. God knows his people, who they are, and he will save them physically in some circumstances that looks like they shouldn't have been here, that gone for sure, but God knew that they would turn to him yet, and he saved them from that, so that they would turn to him and have that spiritual hope in life, and just a beautiful and amazing. And so that I rested in that, I had that peace, right off, and even in our pain and our grief. And so still it hurt, it was hard and it hurt, but I had that assurance in God. And I don't know what I would have did without him. I just don't know how I would have coped, how we would have went on, how I would have kept up for the other children. I had all the other children. I had a little one at the time. She was 3 months old. And I mean, that there was a gift, and that really helped me. That was one of the things with the little baby. She would just look up at me, not knowing what we're going through. And one particular time, tears running down, my face. And she's cooing and smiling up at me. And I was like, oh, I could just hear for my joy. You just hear for... to keep mama going. And isn't it beautiful how God knows what we need, and even that, just that we had a baby just before, I don't believe that was a coincidence or an accident or anything. I mean, I believe God's hands, he was there, and he knew and was preparing us and getting us ready for this. And so I believe that, for anyone, that these things can take us by surprise, but it doesn't take God by surprise. And he is preparing and equipping us behind the scenes, but we need to do our part, just needing to know him, to get to know him, to put him first in our life, to seek him first. If we don't seek him first, we won't have him there when we need him, if we're not putting him first and seeking him with all our heart and soul and mind, and loving him with that. So now, it's been 4 years tomorrow. It's really hard to believe that it's been that long already. Really, it just, time has really went, and time has a way of healing. It's God that has the way of healing. It's God, because I've heard people that are still really struggling years after, still trying to make sense of it. Still, if it's a very senseless thing where you just don't make sense, you'll still be struggling, and kind of taking that out on God, blaming him, knowing that he can step in and stop these things if he wanted to, if it was his plan. When he doesn't, you can end up getting bitter about, for sure. And so if you're not at that place, where I was. I'm not blaming. I'm not looking down on you for that, but I did at all. I just want you to be able to find that peace and that assurance and that hope in God that I have, because without him, it'd be hard. So, but he is the one that gives us that healing and that hope and that purpose. and that we can trust and rest in Him. And I think it's an ongoing thing. It's not something we're going to suddenly come to all at one time, but we just keep turning to God. We just have to keep putting all our worries and our cares on Him, and keep praying and keep looking up, keep getting in His Word, seeing what His Word says, and reading where our hope comes from, and knowing, that this world is not all there is, but when this earth is over, and we that have put our faith and our hope and gave our lives to God, that we'll have eternal life after in heaven. And so that is something that we hope for and look forward to. And what I can understand from scriptures is that it seems like we will know our loved ones and see our loved ones in heaven. Sure, everyone understands that differently, but anyway, but just having the hope of God and eternal life, knowing this world is not all there is really is what really gives us the hope and keeping on. I think I'll probably be doing another video yet of this, and maybe the next day and a couple days, and just sharing more this time, and the resources that I've been doing over the years, especially last summer. So yeah, I'll do that. And one of the things that really I would encourage you to a bit, getting in prayer and getting in the Bible and the Word, is Christian music, praise music. That really helped me. There were certain songs that spoke to me more than others, that just really, really touched me and spoke to me. But just, even if they didn't really speak to me, just that I could sing along to them and just praising God. And I would have them on pretty loud in the house and just go out, just singing them out, just singing. And especially the ones that talked about someone going through a hard thing, where you could tell that they knew what they were saying when they've gone through the storms, they've gone through these difficulties, yet they're still praising God, and yet, He is still taking care of them. And those really meant a lot to me. I really just went, towards those songs that really spoke to me, and I could really relate to those, and I liked those a lot. One particular song was song "Just Be Held," and the lyrics and the two lines that really caught my attention that day. I'm sure I've heard it before, but it was, "Your world is not falling apart; it's falling into place." And boy, I just mulled it over. It's like that was the only lines of the whole song. It's a really beautiful song. You should look it up. It's called "Just Be Held," I think, by Casting Crowns. Yeah, I mulled it over in my mind. Your world's not falling apart; it's falling into place. And it's like, really, and for me, for our loss, our world's not falling apart; it's falling into place. I just kept mulling, even losing a son like this. It's and I realized it just God gave me kind of a renew of peace at that time. That was a year after our loss. At a year after, and I was also really praying diligently at that time for a message to be able to give others, to share in my blog about just for hope and encouragement. I was praying for this message, and one that I could kind of use for speaking to, and then I heard that song, and then this message just came to me, and the title of that, actually, my blog was "Your World's Not Falling Apart." And so I shared that piece from the song and how it touched me, and how I thought of the story of Joseph at that time, where the story of Joseph in the Bible, so many things were going against him, yet and we just went from bad to worse, and being in jail like that, and he was wrongly accused. And anyway, the story goes, you can look it up, that he was in there at that time that he was needed. And then when he got released, and he interpreted the dreams of the Pharaoh, and and then saved many from the years of famine, because it was going to be 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. And then he was put in charge of saving the crops and then distributing. And it's just really beautiful that God needed him there at that time. It was perfect timing. And so, yeah, all that came together. I wrote that story, that blog post, and it's really neat, because I had a rough year. The first year is the roughest. So if this is something new for you, the first years can be the roughest. After you get to the end of that year, I feel it's just it's kind of just uphill from there. There'll be things that you'll come to your mind and memory that's going to be hard and painful and things. And but that first year was hard, and I had really ups and downs, because right after I thought for sure there was going to be something, this big ministry or something come from this something amazing, beautiful. I could really say, wow, this is it. kind of, that's how I felt, and I had that mindset I had really built up, and that helped me get through most of the year, I think, having that mindset. But then when I didn't see anything materialized come about, no one come into the Lord that I knew of, and I wasn't really encouraging a whole lot of people at that time, like and I started to get discouraged, and so I had a really down time. Yeah, and then that was about just a year after when I was praying for that message. But it was just having to keep, going to God, and to keep my strength up. It was, it was just really hard to understand. And when I felt the peace right at the beginning, but then when, things didn't turn out the way I thought they would turn out, then it's hard. You can start, I guess, not trusting. So that's not good. So I wanted to keep trusting and resting in God. And my mom was quite a big help to me at that time, because I'd talk to her and pour my heart out to her and cry to her, and she would reassure me. She's like, well, just keep trusting, just keep trusting, resting in Him. She'd say, it doesn't sound like you're resting, and God is, not that, she was just, trying to really help me out, and I knew that's where I lacked, and that really helped. As it turns out, my mom then has lost one of her sons back 2019, December of 2019. Yes, yeah. So just a couple years after losing our son, so she is walking that road too, and it's difficult, but but God is seeing her and getting her through, and now she can be an encouragement to others that are going through that as well. So yeah, I think that's it for this video, and I am going to be doing more on this in the next few days or week. Haven't really thought of the title yet, but maybe just hanging on to hope, or keep hoping in the hard seasons. And this is around the 4-year kind of anniversary of losing our son, and so that might be part of the title. But just want to give you hope, and just let you know that keep hanging in there, because the God of hope has not forgotten us, has not forsaken us. He does have a plan and a purpose, and He loves us more than we could ever think, and He just wants us to keep going. We've got our children, our family to hang on for, and to others to give hope and encouragement, and that's what I'm excited about doing. I really want to do that in different ways. I've been doing that on my blog and YouTube channel, and as well as a podcast, and I want to do that in public speaking too. So excited about what God has for me in this. So, all right, I hope you enjoyed this. If you haven't already subscribed to me, please do, and so you'll know when more videos come out. Take care. God bless.